All right, so we are recording. So thanks everybody. As I've said, the last two recordings that I've done intended to be live. You're watching it, clearly you know it's not live unless you were catching the replay. But in any case, I am excited to be here with my friend and fellow Aggie, fellow business owner, entrepreneur, Rashaad Johnson, the CEO and founder of ImpactU. And we are going to talk today about motivational strategies to kind of keep us grounded in a time of crisis. I think in times like these, when we know that we're all in this together, however, we do feel some levels of stress and anxiety and just trying to find what to keep us motivated and keep us moving forward and keep the needle moving in our businesses, in our lives, without feeling tremendous amount of pressure and non-productivity. So we're going to talk about some of that today. And there's a couple other things we'll chat about. Rashaad is also an author, which is amazing and awesome. So we'll talk a little bit about his book and some of his other things that he's doing. But I'll let Rashaad, you want to jump in and just do an intro about yourself and what you're doing and a little bit about your business and all that good stuff.
Sure. Hello, everybody. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me here. So my name again is Rashaad Johnson, and I'm the CEO of ImpactU, which is a school of thought. It's my business, and my purpose is to educate people and to teach people and motivate people into pursuing their passions, whatever that may be, whether it's through a hobby, through a business. Started business about 5 years ago, and I speak all over the country. I was right before the shutdown. I was in the middle of a college tour where I was speaking at different colleges, and so the speaking and the writing, those are the two main the main avenues where I get my message out into the people. And so I'm excited to be here, and hopefully we can help some people today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love what you said about it being a school of thought, because I think oftentimes that's where we get stuck, is in our mind and having to make a mind shift and having to pivot, and then figuring out when to pivot and when to persevere. So I think that's an incredible way to think about ImpactU in terms of having a school of thought. So tell us about, I want to jump into the book. And the reason why is because when I was on your website and, I have your book and it's an amazing book. When I was on the website, I read something that I thought was important for us to kind of unpack. And that was, when you were graduating from A&T or getting ready to graduate from A&T, you had a major life crisis and you had a choice to stop or keep going. And I thought that was so important, to talk about today, as much as you want to. And I don't, but I'm just saying, just in terms of like the context of having to move through a crisis. So let's talk a little bit about that and a little bit more about your book.
Absolutely. And so you're right. That situation is perfect to talk about right now. And so what you're referring to, when I was a senior, this was my last semester at A&T, a senior at A&T, in the middle of the semester, my sister was killed. And that was a big blow, of course. And it set me back emotionally, mentally. And I had a decision to make. Again, this is my last semester. I was trying to get out. It was crazy because at my last semester, I was taking 21 hours, all core classes, all engineering and physics and technology classes. And so when it happened, it was a shock. But ultimately, I had to make a decision. And that was really what it was. I had to make a decision. Am I going to stop or am I going to push through this and keep going? And I can't tell you, it was extremely hard. I had to figure out a way to push through it. And luckily I had a mentor, my big brother. He told me, I know this is painful. I can imagine, exactly how you're feeling, but you have to keep going. You have to finish school. And it was just, he said, you just have to make a decision. He was like, the hows, they'll come to you. You'll figure that out. The hows and all this, the details and specifics, you'll figure that out. But you just have to make a decision. I think it's so pertinent to where we are right now, because a lot of people are going through crisis. A lot of people have lost their jobs. They're not able to work. They're having family issues. They're having health issues.
Mm-hmm.
And really, the beginning to becoming better is just making a decision. You just have to make a decision. And some people, I know some people, they need to know all the details and the hows and everything else before they do it. But the most important thing to do is to make a decision. And whatever your decision is, my life is going to be better. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to shift and pivot and go another direction. I'm going to put more time into my business, more time into my job. Whatever that decision is, it all starts with the decision.
Yeah. I'm writing down notes as you're talking, because I think something that you just said is extraordinarily important to hear again, in case people didn't hear it. And that is, the beginning of coming out of a crisis is to just make a decision that you're going to come out of it. And again, that's that whole mindset work that I think we often overlook doing, because it's so easy to not do it. It's simple to, go the easy way, and the easy way, sometimes, I guess I could say, may seem easier. It really could lead to tougher situations in the end, regret and all that kind of stuff, right? There was this video that I saw, I cannot remember the lady's name, but it was a video where she said she had been, feeling really depressed for a while. She had lost her job. She was at home, and she was watching something on television, and she had been laying in bed for weeks on end, just could not get herself together. And she said she was watching this video, and at the end of the show that she was watching, there was a rocket that launched, and it was a countdown. And she said at the end of the countdown, in her mind, she told herself, when this rocket launches, I'm going to get up out of bed. So she counted down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And when it hit 1, the rocket launched, she got up out of bed. And then she did that every day after that. But it was that one decision that she made. And she said, it's so corny and so crazy sounding that I'm going to shoot out this bed like a rocket. But that was the mindset. That's all it took for her to get out of her own way, to be able to start to feel better. So the next day she did it, and she got up out of bed, and she did one more thing after she got out of bed. Then the next day she did it again. And she used to count. She literally used to count down every day. That's how she used to get out of bed. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, out the bed, like that.
Wow.
And the point that she was making behind that was, you can train your brain. Your brain is designed to keep you away from the things that are uncomfortable. It's a defense mechanism, but you can train your mind and train your brain to do something different. But you have to do the work, right? So absolutely. I thought that was important. That was important to kind of talk, about that decision-making process. And we do get caught up in, well, what happens if I make the decision and I don't know what the next step is? Mm-hmm. It'll work itself out. It always does. It's going to work itself out whether you make the decision or not. It's just whether you can participate in it or not, right? So I thought that was important to kind of revisit that. So tell us a little bit more about your book. What's the name of it? Where can people find it?
So the book is entitled Caged Dream. And Caged Dream is available on my website at rashaadjohnson.com. The book is about my journey through corporate America. It's about a little bit of background about my life and my mindset and how I think. But I wrote it from a perspective of being in corporate America and feeling caged, because I wanted to launch my own business. I wanted to do my own thing. And I felt like just being in corporate America had me caged. It didn't allow me to do everything I knew I was capable of. And so it's a honest and blunt look at my times, the highs and lows, the successes and failures of me in corporate America, but me ultimately making the decision to start my own business and launch out and do what I was passionate about.
Gotcha. And the business was ImpactU, right?
The businesses ImpactU, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, I think we all, not all, because entrepreneurship is not for everybody. Let's say that. Let's just be honest about that. It's not. But for those of us that make the decision to do it,
So true.
Goodness, is it ever? Those of us that make the decision to do it, I think another really good book to read is The E-Myth, or The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. Many of us go into business because we have that burning passion. We feel a certain kind of way. We're like, I could do this for myself, or I could be doing something else for myself, So we go into it with a mindset, again, of doing what we love doing, but we forget sometimes that there's other pieces of being a business owner that we have absolutely no idea what we're doing. So if you, like for me, example, I'm an HR consultant. I know zero about accounting. I didn't know about marketing. I didn't know anything about, networking on that level. Like those were things I didn't know. I knew HR, and that's all I wanted to do was HR. But I think it's important for people to know that your passion can propel you through. You just have to be able to also align yourself with others that are like-minded, and other business owners, people that we've been taught to kind of see others that do what we do as competition. And again, another mindset shift is that we don't have to be competition with one another. That blue ocean strategy, another book, is true. There's enough for everybody to get a piece, so we don't have to feel like we're competing with each other. And now, especially, we need to pull together and collaborate more than ever, because we need each other. We need each other. Having said that, I want to segue into Aggie's Excel, because that's another one of your brainchilds, brainchildren. That's another brainchild. Y'all get what I'm saying. So that's another brainchild that you started in October of 2019 was the first, the launch of that. So talk about Aggie's Excel and what your vision is for that.
Right, great. Well, Aggie's Excel, that was one of my babies, and the whole idea came from me understanding, we love our school. A&T is like the greatest. And so,
look, I got my little pennant right here just in case.
Absolutely. And so part of the A&T experience is GHO, is homecoming. It's a huge part. And I know there was at A&G Hub. It's an amazing time. It's like a huge family reunion where you see all the people that you love and care about, all the old friends, and we have tons of fun. But there weren't too many avenues for us on the business collaboration side. And there were so many entrepreneurs that I know from A&T. I started to reach out to a few of them and say, this is what I want to do. I want to bring something I want to bring us together and have something where Aggie entrepreneurs can collaborate, learn from each other, and help boost each other's businesses and help. Yeah. You never know what conversations are going to take you to the next level. And it just the sharing of that mindset. I mean, I was really big on allowing us to share mindset, to, bounce ideas back and forth. Aggie's Excel is something it's going to be an annual thing. It's going to be a time to help make each other better.
Yeah. And I love that. So when we went to that event, it was an amazing, intimate group of, friends. Some of us knew each other. Some of us were meeting each other for the first time. And then there was the range of businesses, those that had been in business for a little while, those that were new in business. Some had been madly or are madly successful. And then those that were looking to launch and get into business. And we got to share experiences and have conversation with one another and collaborate with one another as well, because that's what it's all about. Again, it's not necessarily a competition thing. Yes, I think you need to know what else is out there. That whole SWOT analysis thing that we learned in school, right? So, I mean, we do that on a regular basis to survey what's happening. But I really think for us, particularly small businesses, we're doing that as a way to understand where the gap in the market is and how is there an opportunity for us to be able to fill that gap that's in the market versus trying to find who is the competition and knock them out. I mean, not from that standpoint. I think ideally we should be in a position where we want to serve, and collaborating with others just broadens our ability to be able to serve. And then utilizing like our network from A&T, again, to be able to deepen the root and be able to serve. So I thought it was an awesome event that was put together. I'm looking forward to its growth and its spreading to maybe being something that's, not just at GHO, but stuff that happens throughout the course of the year in different locations, because we're everywhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One thing I loved from that event, and thank you so much for being a part of it and being able to contribute to that. One thing you mentioned something earlier, you were talking about mindset, and mindset is so important. And just how you were saying, you have to train your brain. Like we have to understand that our brains are computers. Whatever you input into them is going to eventually be how it operates. If you don't like the way you're thinking, you don't like the way you're feeling, you can change that. It's just like, I love, sports, and I love exercise analogies. And I've been taught from a kid playing sports, played football all my life, that your body can do so much more than your mind thinks it can.
Yeah.
And sometimes even when you feel like you're exhausted, you still have more in the tank, and your mind has to tell your body to keep going when you don't feel like it. The same in business. Sometimes you're capable of doing so much more. Even throughout this crisis, you can build an amazing business, but it starts with you making a decision and controlling how you think about it, and stop looking at all the negatives, stop looking at all of the things that could go wrong, but create what you want to happen and realize what's possible. We have to program ourselves to think differently if we want differently.
That's right. You said something key there too. I'm a rewind on, which is creating. And we are subject to our situations become as they are for two reasons: the things that we allow and the things that we create. That's it. That's where we end up, based on what we allow and what we create. And I think a lot of us allow things to happen. We need to create things to happen. We need to be more intentional and not operate by default, because our mind will allow us to operate by default. It's easy. That's the easiest course of least resistance. And our mind will go there every time if we allow it to. But we really have to, again, do that mindset work and not allow those kind of things to kind of creep in, especially if we know we want something different. Then we've got to do that mind work, listen to podcasts, read books, watch Facebook Lives, watch videos on LinkedIn, read articles, do something to kind of keep your mind moving in that direction. Because again, you can, like you said, your brain is a computer. You can train it, you can retrain it to think differently. So it's just, wanting and having the intention of putting the work in to make it possible.
Absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit about why you ventured into entrepreneurship. So I know you mentioned the book, The Cage Dream, is about your feeling stuck in corporate America. So a lot of us entrepreneurs, and some that are watching may even still be doing both, working their dream and working in corporate America until they feel they can make that shift. What was it that happened? Tell us
Good.
about your last day at corporate America.
Well, so I left corporate America and then I went back temporarily. So I'm still in the process of transition. But let me tell you what the kicker was for me.
Okay.
It was two things. One was realizing that some of the people, I don't want to sound too negative, but the truth is some of the higher ups, some of the decisions that were made and some of the directions that I saw the company began to go was very contrary to what I believe. And I'm sure some of us have been there where you look and you're talking to people 2-3 levels up from you and realizing that you actually may be able to do a better job because of the decisions that they're making. And you're like, so this is the who, and they made a decision to do what based off the knowledge that we all have.
Yeah.
And so it's like, not to say I'm better than anybody, but I'm like, okay, that definitely could have been handled differently. And it was proof because of you see the outcome of certain decisions and you're like, I definitely wouldn't have made that decision.
Yeah.
So that was one thing. The other thing was just realizing, to be honest, I realized I needed flexibility because of what I wanted to do. And I am not the best employee. I had to be honest with myself and say, I'm not the best employee because corporate America, anybody that's been in it for a while, there's a level of conformity that you have to have. There's a level, and certain people have to learn how to kiss up and brown nose. And, I wasn't good at that. I wasn't good at laughing at the corny jokes that the C-level executives were making just because I was at the table. Everybody thought it was hysterical. And I'm looking like, wow, this is what we're doing now. So, and
I know your sense of humor, so I know how hard that was for you.
It was real hard for me. I was told a long time ago, like, one of my mentors said, Rashaad, you have to learn how to fix your face. Like, when people say something you don't agree with, like, it's all over your face. Like, you don't even pretend to go along with it. And I realized, like, I'm not the best employee. Like, so this is ultimately for me, but it was more of me understanding that I have such a job to do. Like, there's so many people that could benefit from what I can give them. Corporate America, sure, I can stay in corporate, the impact that I want to help make people better. And that was the beginning of me deciding I have to do something different.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, and you're a few years younger than me. But we've been in business for about the same amount of time, 5 years. And I started my journey while I was still working. I was working 30 hours a week because the company had gone through a RIF, and the management staff took some of us took pay cuts, and others of us took reduced work hours. So instead of working 40 hours a week, I worked 30. And at that time, I was also pregnant with our youngest son. So I was like, well, this is perfect time for me to kind of, start to wind down and slow down a little bit. He came 5 weeks early, so I didn't even get a chance to do much of that. I did it for 3 weeks, I think, and then I was out. So, but when I came back to work, I was still working 30 hours a week. And during that time, I actually started by writing a blog about being the parent of 2 kids, because our oldest son was 3, getting ready to turn 4. And we had summer camp for one, and the other one was, in daycare, and that whole all that logistics and how different it was to have 2 kids. That is actually what started me doing some writing. And then I said, well, what if I took that opportunity of writing, and to not be in conflict with my full-time job, I can work with career professionals and help them with getting their resumes together. Because if they've been in corporate America for 5, 6, 7 years or longer, they don't know the impact that social media is having on them being able to recruit. To source and find jobs. They don't know how their social media profile presents them. They, all that stuff that has now kind of evolved over the last several years at that time in terms of how people were looking for jobs. So I said, this isn't in conflict, because I worked in corporate HR. I'm working with career professionals, so there's no conflict there. That's what started. That's how I started HR Pro for You, which I thought at the time was an extraordinarily corny company name, by the way, but I couldn't come up with anything else. So I said HR Pro for You because that's what I am. And then it has since evolved. And while I still do some work on the individual side, a fellow Aggie called me and saw that I was doing HR work and asked for me to come and help. And I still work with him today. It's been 4 years. So he was my first corporate client. So yeah, I think being in a position where you know you can give more and do more is the first inkling. And you shouldn't ignore that. If there's something in you, that says I could be giving more or doing more, you should definitely explore that to the fullest to make sure you're not missing on something that really could be impactful to others. And again, it's a way to serve, right? So I think that's really important and really key.
Absolutely.
What would you say is your best advice for people that may be feeling stuck, particularly now, like in the environment that we're in right now?
I think the first thing I would tell you is to take control of your thoughts. Take control of how you're doing this, because you have to remember that your mind controls your body. Your mind controls what you do. Everything starts with the mind. As strong as your body is, it's nothing without your mind controlling it. Mm-hmm. And you have to, I look at my life and I look at my mind as if you can, the way the wind blows, you drift that direction, or you can decide to put some work behind that ship, start up the motor, and use the steering wheel and guide it to where you want it to be. Like, it's really that simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. Mm-hmm. It's just like, I use the analogy of just pushing a car. I'm like, pushing a car is simple. All you do is put it in neutral and push.
Mm-hmm. It's not easy though.
A car, but it's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. You just have to decide, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head. It's making the decision. Again, I think all of this is about decision making. And I think that particularly because we're in this crisis situation, and I don't like to keep using that word because I do feel like that word has such a negative connotation.
Right.
But it's our current reality. It is serious. And that's the reason why the word crisis, I think, fits. Not because we're trying to be negative, but because people do need to recognize the seriousness and the impact that this is going to have. But there's definitely a silver lining in all of it. We will come out better and stronger. And like you said, too, it's not easy to do, but it's simple. And it starts with just making a decision. That's
You're right.
It begins, making the decision and then repeating that decision the next day and then the next day. And even if you have a day where you didn't make that great of a decision or you didn't make that decision, you do know that all you have to do is make the decision. You've already proven to yourself that you're capable. So
absolutely,
keeping that in mind.
So right.
Yeah.
Can I add something to that?
Absolutely.
I was thinking about just once you make the decision, because I don't want people to think that I just, I'm perfectly surfing this and I have it all together. Some days are better than others. There's some days I'm more productive than others.
Yeah.
I can say what works for me is a schedule, because you can wake up and you eat and watch a TV program and you look at the clock and all of a sudden it's 6 p.m. and you're like, where did the time go?
Yeah.
What I have to do for me, it may not be everybody, but I have to have a schedule. I have to put things on the schedule. I literally have to put on my schedule, okay, at 1 o'clock, Rashaad is going to make some updates to his website, or 2 o'clock, I'm going to work on a video, or, at 10 a.m., I'm going to do this and try to stick to it, because I'm I'm a very creative type.
If you can hear me, we got stuck for a quick second.
Work, because that's just not gonna happen. But just little bits at a time to keep yourself productive.
So that schedule and that routine is critical. That I do know. That's one of the things when I was talking with another young lady, the project management expert I talked to last week, and that's one of the things that she was explaining, to just kind of, in order to stay motivated and stay productive, try to follow the same routine that you would normally follow. Because now that you're home, you know, you've got lots of distractions around you. The phone's ringing, the doorbell's ringing, you know, somebody needs help with homework, or, you know, you got all these distractions that are around, but you have to try to at least stay in some semblance of routine, and a schedule definitely helps with making that happen and just kind of helping to stay on task. So at least you don't feel like you're floundering around being not being productive at all, because you don't, you know, it's tons of things to do, but you haven't scheduled time to make them happen. It's also an accountability tool as well. And particularly if you are engaging with other people, it's an accountability tool. So having that stuff on the schedule and planning it and spending time to kind of think about what the schedule needs to look like that next day helps to make you to be more accountable than just kind of floundering out there on your own.
Right.
What's next for Rashaad? Where are we going?
Rashaad is about to take over the world. That's what's next for Rashaad.
Okay.
I have my dreams are huge, but I really, what's next for me is well, in the fall, I mentioned it briefly. I was in the middle of a college speaking tour, where I was speaking to colleges all over the nation, talking about different topics from diversity to leadership. And so I was in the middle of it, and I was loving it. I was enjoying meeting with young minds and talking to people and encouraging and motivating the younger generation and teaching them more than anything. So in the fall, I'm working right now. I'm working with colleges, talking to them right now. I'm going to start that back up in the fall. So hopefully when things open back up in the fall, I'm going to continue that. Also, I'm working on another book that is going to be released in the fall.
Yay!
And so this one, I'm really excited about this project. The book is close to being done. So sometime between the end of the summer and the fall, I'll be releasing this next book. And that's just going to help to propel me even further with the speaking tour. So I'm doing colleges now, but next up is the corporate arena, where I'll be, you know, starting to speak on different corporate platforms. So that's what's next for me.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. Wow. I want to write a book so bad. I really do. I need to, and I've started it like 2 or 3 times. I've started it, and I just haven't. And I think there's definitely a corporate book, and then there's a kind of like a my journey book too. So I've got some work to put behind that and to set aside some dedicated time. But I think that's amazing. I'm happy for you. That's awesome. A&T is on that list, right?
Of course. I've been talking to a few people from A&T to get there, possibly for freshman orientation, but we'll see. But yeah, do that. Let me tell you, write the book, do it. With this current book I'm writing, I started writing it, and I put it down for about a month or two. Then I went back to it, and I put it down for a week. So it would come in spurts, but do it. Just don't stop.
Yeah. All right. That's the motivation that I needed. I do need to. And I think, you know, again, it's so easy the mind, right? I can do it. I'm going to do it. But right now, this needs my attention. So I go to the path of resistance, you know. When I do sit down to do it, it comes out really easily. But it's just sitting down to do it. So I have to put that on my to-do list and get it done. So I'm
You
gonna be
got it.
that.
You got that. You got that.
Tell us where we can find you, connect with you. And I know you mentioned your book is on your website. Is only on your website?
Well, my book is on the website and Amazon.com.
Perfect.
You'll probably get it quicker from the website, but it's on Amazon as well.
Okay.
And so my website is just my name, RashaadJohnson.com, RashaadJohnson.com.
Okay.
So my website, you can always connect. On Instagram, I'm at Rashaad IU. That's RashaadIU. Twitter. YouTube, and thank you. Impact and the letter U.
Okay. All right.
And I just want to tell everybody, like, keep going. I mean, I've had lulls in this shutdown too. Like the first week, the only thing productive was probably the hinges on my refrigerator. Like it got a lot of work at first.
There's that sense of humor. That's what.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I spent time on the couch and in the kitchen the first week. That was it. Fun. My skill might have changed a little bit, but that was it the first week. After that, I had to get myself in gear. And there have been a couple of days, even through this shutout, a day or two would go by. You did nothing the past 2 days but eat. And so, I have to get myself back in gear as well. It's not always easy, but you just have to make the decision and tell yourself, this is what I'm going to do today.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we've all had those moments. I said it yesterday at like 11 o'clock. I was like, I can see this is going to be a short day for me. It wasn't. I ended up doing it anyway. But I just, you do get into those moments where you're like, oh God, I just want to stop right now. Or I'll say, I'm not getting out the bed on Saturday. Like I'm not getting up. I do. I have 2 kids. Like I don't really have a choice, but it sounds like a good idea.
Right.
But yeah, no, this has been amazingly great. And I really appreciate you sharing advice and tips and the motivation just to kind of keep going and to not give up. I jotted down some notes. I'll share them in the post when we upload this. And I sincerely appreciate you and Aggie Pride. Aggies do. That's it.
Aggie Pride. That's right. Aggies do. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you. And I look forward to working with you in the future. I mean, I know your business is on the verge of really blowing up.
Thank you.
You're already doing well, but it's on the verge of really blowing up. And so I'm excited to see the progression.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you everybody for watching. Please make sure you check out Rashaad's website, check his book, and also follow him on social media as well. And in the event that you are a small business owner or a business owner in general, and particularly needing some assistance with navigating this HR situation, particularly under COVID-19, and have questions about communications, what needs to happen, questions about the leave policies, or just in general have questions about HR, please make sure you reach out to me as well. You can reach me here on this webpage, on the Facebook page rather, but you can also connect with me on LinkedIn. And the website is HRPro, the number 4, YOU.com. And I will see you again on Friday. We have another one talking about technology and the impact that it has had on pushing people into a virtual environment. So I'm excited to have my guest, Mark Lawrence from Incubate on Friday. So I will see you guys then. Take care. Thanks, Rashaad.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Bye.
Bye.